All right, guys. Hey, today we've got a great guest here at Quick Sell, and we're going to be going over. He has a program that he reviews books, and he reads them once a week. I saw it on Facebook. He's kind of like a Facebook phenomenon here in El Paso. So, and the book that I recommended was The Blue Ocean Strategy, and it was kind of my comment to say it's exactly what you do, what you did as a realtor here in El Paso. So he read it, and then he said he was going to do it. I saw he was going to do the review, and I reached out to him. I was like,
let's do this.
Hey, let's do this together, because I'm a huge fan of Blue Ocean Strategy. I'm the one that recommended, so I want to get all the credit. No, just kidding. What kind of? But we're going to kind of go through everything that you've read about it. I'm going to kind of interview you, just ask you some quick questions about it. Maybe give a little introduction of yourself and where you came from and what you've done.
Yeah, sure. So going to this book review thing, I started this actually just a few weeks ago. This is actually just week 3 for me. But it's really helped me kind of stay consistent. I've always wanted to, I think reading is such a very important part of like, one, your business and just improving your overall life. So I wanted a systematic way to approach reading. And I thought, you know what? I read Gary Vee's book, Crushing It, and I was like, let's do this on social media. So let me document my experience on social media. And then also, let me take one meaningful action, at least one meaningful action from each book. That way I'm actually getting something out of it. And it's sort of like an experiment, right? So day 0 to the end of 50 weeks, and you kind of see those changes in your life based off those actions you take. So
yeah, that's good.
I even made like a spreadsheet, right? So like every book, I have the action just to kind of keep me accountable.
I think also the Facebook thing makes you accountable.
Yeah, like
saying that you're going to do it once a week, you're just like,
yeah,
hey, you did it. You know, it's like the guy saying, I'm going to lose 20 pounds by the end of the month, and
you're
like, you didn't do it.
You know, the guy says he's going to lose 20 pounds, but then the guy says, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, and I'm going to document my progress each week on Facebook, you know, so everyone can see it.
Gives you accountability.
Yeah, it kind of gives you that accountability. But so, yeah, I just started doing this, and I just had the idea after reading that book, and that's why I think the power of reading is basically getting the ideas from these books and kind of applying them to your life. And
where do you have your license hanging, and how's your business going? Maybe just give us a little.
So let me talk a little bit about myself a little bit. So I actually started real estate when I was on active duty back in 2016. One of my soldiers was actually doing it, so I was like, you know what, I could do this too. Real estate's something it's sort of on your own schedule, so as long as you can make time for your clients, you know, you can do it even if you have like a full-time job.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if you're like in my case, I was active duty military. So which actually turned out to be a great asset to me, I think, just connecting with my clients and things like that. But I've been doing it here in El Paso since 2016. I've had a fairly steady growth in business. And really just this year I started applying like more advanced techniques to the business. You know, incorporating more social media, you know, just more like video, things like that. So that's really why I'm trying to get a lot of these ideas from these books. So not only for real estate, but really for everything in life. But that's kind of what I do. I sort of have a VA loan military focus with my client base, and it really works out well. Just me being a veteran, able to connect with the clients. But
I think it's one of the reasons that I immediately said that you specifically did this book and you didn't even know about it, is you created an innovation in a market that's crazy red ocean. You know what I mean? As what the book calls red ocean is like, it's very competitive. There's not a hard barrier of entry. You know, you got all these people that have real estate license and don't know anything about what they're doing.
Correct.
You know, it's all about putting their face on a business card. You know what I mean? And like just looking pretty and like showing houses, and they don't really ever innovate. You know what I mean? So what I saw that was really phenomenal in your business, and I know you don't want to brag about yourself, but coming from somebody that straight out of the military into a new town and to create a whole business turnkey that's killing everybody else, like.
Not everyone.
But you know what I'm saying? It's killing everybody else comparably, and basically building it on an innovation and hard work and a unique offering. You know what I mean? And that's why I really was like, dude, this is your book. You didn't know it, but this is your book. You know?
Sort of intuitively, but well, I think I just sort of intuitively know, like you said, there's a lot of real estate agents out there. And I think the stat is like 85 or 90% quit in their first year.
High turnover.
So very high turnover rate. So I was like, I realized quickly that I needed to do something to sort of distinguish myself and provide more value than the other person. So that's why, I really emphasize like my systems for, so let's say listing a property. I'll have like a 20-point marketing plan for my property. So I'm not just, I advertise on social media, blah, blah, everyone does that. Right? I have specific things I do that I share with my clients. Hey, this is what I do that these other agents don't, you know? And it's the same fee essentially. So
it's a unique offering.
Exactly.
You're giving more value to the customer, hence this is like one of the points in the Blue Ocean strategy is how can I offer more value to a customer that somebody else isn't offering, and then I think also what you kind of did is you took this market of like, and we're kind of getting into the book, but where there's like 10 or 20 different types of customers, right? The customer avatar, and you said, okay, forget all these people. I'm going to go after maybe these two people.
Niche markets, for sure.
And you said, and then when you're talking to the customer, you're saying, I'm a specialist for you specifically. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then also because of your background, coming from a military background, you also have that instant rapport. You know what I mean? That instant connection about, I'm not a civilian, I know what it's like. You can talk shop.
Well, I actually got that idea just from a book I read called Hyper Fast, Hyper Local Agent by Dan Lesniak.
Oh, okay.
And he basically talks about like the STP framework, so segment, target, position.
Okay.
So that goes into kind of like the P, like the positioning yourself as that local expert. So you segment your market that you're going to go after. You target, with ads or networking or whatever, and then you kind of position yourself like, hey, I'm the go-to guy for VA loans. I know it inside and out. I've used it myself several times. I've helped other clients use it, whatever. That's kind of like the P, the positioning yourself is like the number one resource.
And it's funny because I deal with agents like all the time, and a lot of agents they'll do that, but they'll do it for like a geographic location. They'll do like a subdivision or a side of town. Some are very
successful doing that.
Or I'll do new homes, or I'll do listings. But I think yours was so narrow that it was somewhat unique. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people are like, oh yeah, and they'll put like, they'll put stuff about their military stuff on social.
Yeah.
But they're not necessarily targeting those people. They're just kind of trying to brand themselves as that. And I think that's what kind of sets you apart. And then I think what you did too is you took it a step further where you're like, okay, where you kind of were thoughtful about, okay, how do I make this unique offering to them that will give them something that they're not getting?
Yeah, exactly.
That's that added value.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's the reason I was like, wow, whatever he's doing is working, and it just shot up like a lightning bolt in a business that's mostly built on personal relationships, your network, and that's why it's unique to me. And I was like, and I've told this to Mike many times, is like, it's phenomenal what you were able to do to come to a city that you don't know anybody or very little people, and to build a sizable real estate realtor market that you didn't know everybody. That's the hard part. That's what's unique. So I don't want to brag on you too much to make you blush or something. But that was what the really unique thing about it, and I was really impressed by it. But let's get into the book. So, what do you think was the number one thing that you got out of it? What was that thing that you wrote on your list?
Oh, you know what? Okay, so whenever I look at I actually read this on my iPad.
Okay.
So I do two things when I read a book. If it's a hard copy, I'll kind of fold the page in half if I want to go back to it. Yeah, exactly. Just like that. Or if it's on my iPad, I'll just screenshot it so I can go back in my photos and look at it. But so I read this on my iPad. So the number one thing that I actually screenshot was the whole framework of there's four things they talk about. It's reduce, eliminate, raise, and create.
Yeah, that's good.
So reduce is look at things that are unnecessary or
Even your avatars.
Yeah, exactly.
You reduced all your avatars to just the military personnel.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Not that you wouldn't do real estate for somebody else.
Yeah, of
but,
course,
you know.
yeah. And then eliminate, so like eliminate wasteful things or costful things in your business. Raise your value, and then create would be creating like new value. So create something that's not in the market already. So I think that might be like my takeaway from this book actually. Just look at my business through that framework. So I even saved like they have a chart like each thing is like a little bubble and you write like beneath the details. So
yeah.
And they actually took a few businesses into this. So they took I think they took what's that wine business they took? Cirque du Soleil. They talked about that a lot.
The Australian.
Yeah, the Australian wine. It's like Yellowtail.
Yellowtail. That's what it was.
Yeah. So they talked about Yellowtail, Cirque du Soleil. I think they talked about like Southwest Airlines in there. So they actually break each business down through this framework. So that's probably the number one thing I took out of it. And then I love the idea of finding like people who are not customers currently, second tier, third tier non-customers is what they call them in the book.
Yeah.
And then finding ways to bring those people into your business and make them customers.
Where the wine is kind of that unique offering, where the idea was that wine is very somewhat bougie.
Bougie.
Like, you know what I mean? Like you're fancy because you drink wine. And it was kind of interesting because I got into wine around that same time.
Yeah.
I don't drink anymore, but back in the day I used to drink wine. I was all, look at the legs and the sniffing, and I was like,
from 1776.
Yeah, like 1981. You know what I mean? And but what they did is they made wine simple, like not a lot of description, and they marketed it to the average drinker, maybe a beer or a liquor drinker that say, hey, maybe try this out, and they made it more palatable and simple, and like even the logo was totally different, where it was kind of like the marketing side of it, where it was like very like how do you say, corporate type feel, you know what I mean, like this Italian vineyard and wherever, and then they just had like a big kangaroo on it, you know what I mean, and all of them were the same kangaroo, and they had bright colors. So it made this unique offering, and it just destroyed the market. Like they took they tripled the highest competitor in a couple years, which is somewhat exactly what you did in your market. Where if you put like those other people where you were getting your real estate license and put you guys head to head, and all those guys are probably gone now. You know what I mean? That's why I said, I was like, man, it's a unique offering, but. What else do you, the one thing I think we should probably do is give people maybe a basic understanding of what Blue Ocean is about.
Oh, yeah, of course. Okay, so they use a metaphor of blue oceans, right? So blue ocean versus like a red ocean. So a red ocean is a very competitive marketplace. You think shark-infested waters, no blood in the water, red ocean. So very competitive. And then a blue ocean is like the opposite. So there's no one else in that blue ocean except for you, and it's just wide open.
Yeah.
So you're creating these blue oceans, right, from a red ocean. So it doesn't just happen automatically. You have to find this strategy that brings you into a new marketplace where there's no other competitors. So you innovate yourself out of these red oceans into a blue ocean, where it's very less competitive. And just more market for you, basically.
One thing they actually literally wrote on the book was how to create uncontested market space.
Yeah.
And make your competition irrelevant. I just love that idea. It was like competition irrelevant. Like I want to do that so bad. You know what I mean? Like my competitive spirit is just like I buy into that idea, is making competition irrelevant. And they used a study. One thing that I pulled up. I have my notes here on my phone, so I'm not checking my Facebook.
Oh, it's okay.
But so the writers are Chan, right? They're a husband and wife, and they did a study of 108 businesses. 92 of them were in the red ocean. 16 of them were in the blue ocean, I guess, according to their framework. And 39% of the profits came from the people in the red ocean, even though they were 92 to 16 percentage wise.
Yeah.
So 61% of the profit came from the people in the blue ocean, and that was over a 10 to 15 year period. And it's like substantially different, you know.
Yeah.
And like anybody that's starting a business knows, like, or anybody that has done business in the past knows, business is so competitive.
It is. Yeah.
You want to open a restaurant, or you want to become a realtor, or you want to flip houses, or you want to do creative marketing, any type of business you can think of. It's like, it's very hard to make it successful. Most businesses in America lose, right?
Yeah.
And that's a sad truth, but I think what the book does is it kind of gives you a framework to making a successful business. Not necessarily like if you do this, you're always going to win, but it opens up a new way of looking at it.
I agree. Yeah, I think it kind of changes your mindset too. So she talks about, do you have a red ocean mindset or like a blue ocean mindset in the book? And like a blue ocean mindset, really, you have to be constantly innovating. So it's not just something that, all right, I'm in a blue ocean now, I can just coast and chill out on my little raft here. No, you have to keep innovating yourself to stay on top, basically.
Yeah, because they're coming.
Yeah, because it will be a red ocean very soon if you don't do anything.
Yeah.
So you have to keep staying on top of trends, keep innovating yourself in your business, basically.
Specifically social media.
Yeah.
Social media is kind of that way, because I know you're
it's
in
a
social
whole
media
digital community, yeah, of course.
And we all know people that were big 5 years ago in social media. They were like what do they call them, influencers 5 years ago, nationally known, you know what I mean? And now we don't even hear about them anymore.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hot today, cold tomorrow. So also the social media side is hard because you have to stay what they call relevant.
Yeah, of course.
You know, that's a big, hard thing to do. But what else do you think have you used maybe in your business to, or that you're gonna take away specifically and put into your business, or maybe something that somebody else can use in their business that it was like an aha moment that you got out
from this book?
Mm-hmm.
I think really the biggest thing that I'm going to do is look at that graph they have and say, hey, you know, where am I?
The one with the triangles?
I think so.
I think it's the one that I actually did. Yeah, it's the one that I but is that one?
No, I think it's actually like a quad chart, I think.
Okay, good.
So the quad chart basically is an outline for everything that you can do. You can almost analyze like any business through that. So I'm actually going to sit down and look at that and say, hey, pick out specific details of my business. Where can I improve? You know, what can I raise? What can I eliminate? What can I reduce? And then what are some things that I'm not doing that I should be to create additional value, basically.
You know, it's really good that we're doing this interview.
I would say that would be the thing that everyone should do from this book. If you don't have time to read it, or you know you're too lazy or whatever, just go to that page and go, all right, what do I need to do?
Yeah, because I just because we're doing this interview, I kind of started reviewing it again, and then I was like, oh, forgot about this whole part. You know what I mean? About the eliminating, the reducing, and then adding more value. And because a lot of times when you read this book, because it's so technical, it's like one of those books that you'll study.
It's almost like a textbook, sort of.
Yeah, it's not as fun of a read as most self-help books are, but it's more of a textbook, I would say. Yeah. I felt like I was in school reading this book.
Yeah, me too.
But the thing that I got out of it, it was like, oh, I forgot about the reduce and eliminate, because I was so focused on the innovate. You know, innovate's kind of
that's the
fun.
Thing.
Yeah, there you go. It's fun.
Like, cool. I'm gonna do this. It's gonna be so cool.
I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna innovate my competition out of the market. But there's also the side where you got to eliminate certain things that you're doing, because if you're gonna make a better offering to somebody else, like I think the better example is what was it, Cirque du Soleil, right, in the book. So tell us a little bit about that Cirque du Soleil business model and what they eliminated, because I know that was like the biggest thing that helped them, is that they eliminated a lot of that. Well, I won't tell you.
So they talk about like the whole circus, the circus market, basically. Cirque du Soleil sort of caters to a different type of clientele than your traditional circus, where there's peanuts, there's elephants, there's clowns, there's balloons, whatever.
Yeah.
It's Cirque du Soleil kind of created a new customer base of people who are into art. They're maybe a little bit more sophisticated adults
Human drama
enjoy
and type
it.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Um,
was more of a show
it's more of a show than like a circus. So that's kind of what Cirque du Soleil did. But
yeah, they talked about how the elephants are so expensive to maintain and to move and stuff
they
like
got rid
that.
of all that stuff.
And who would ever think of having a circus without an elephant?
Yeah. Exactly.
Cirque du Soleil, right? And sometimes those assumptions that we have in the marketplace, specifically like, hey, you should always be a listing agent. You know what I mean? It's like listing agent is the place to the market, where you're more of a selling agent, and it's like, it's a quicker market, and it's a lot more customer service involved with being a buyer's agent, I would say. And I would say, from my opinion, that eliminating that whole listing side is generally what every broker would say is a big no-no, but it's worked. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, I love the book. I recommend it to everybody else. Tell anybody if they're looking at, maybe they want to buy a house here in town.
Yeah.
Maybe you could plug in your business and give everybody your information. Where they can
Yeah,
contact
definitely.
you.
Sure. I'm Michael Hughes. I'm here in El Paso. You can reach me at 915-433-3918, or hit me up on social media, of course. If you need to buy or sell a home here, I'm the best. So.
Hey, there you go. See, you know what? There's nothing wrong with being confident. Yeah. And everybody that I've ever sent to Michael, they've always been happy with the customer service. And I see the stuff that you do extra, especially if they're out of town buyers,
extra,
where you go to the house and you're literally there on your phone and you're showing them the stuff.
Today, actually,
see, that's an added value that the other people don't see,
Yeah.
And we appreciate you, man, coming on. And is there anything else you want to tell anything about it?
No, it's a great book. Look forward to it. I'll be reviewing a book recommendation from Brian Rodriguez. It's You Already Know Who You Need to Know.
Oh, really?
I can't remember the exact title off the top of my head. Something like that.
We'll plug it in. You just send it to us. We'll plug it in on the bottom.
So that's coming up next week. But yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.